Andy. What a nice introduction. It is not hard to be a friend of Parks and Wildlife. And one of the reasons it's not hard is the hardworking employees of this agency, people who truly are dedicated to parks and who are dedicated to wildlife, and a remarkable executive director, Andy Sansom, who is one of the best executive directors in the state of Texas. I'm really thrilled to get an opportunity to be with you tonight, and the reason I took this big box off is I don't have my ego in being bigger, you know. And I wanted to be able to see what I was saying to you because I worked hard on this speech. I want you to know that I watched George W.'s plate as it left the table to make sure he ate all his broccoli. And he did. I told him a while ago if there had been a marquee out here, out front, that said Expo 92 featuring George Bush and Ann Richards, no one would have believed it. But they would have come. Thank you for doing this, George. We really appreciate it. And Nolan Ryan, my hero, when I grow up, I'm going to be able to pitch a baseball. Not as well as Nolan Ryan, but I'm going to be able to pitch one. I want to congratulate Parks and Wildlife for the incredible job that you've done tonight in renting all these kids from Central Casting. Every single one of them looked like they were supposed to look, you know. My thanks too to Chevron. The last time I thanked Chevron was when they provided the stakes for Speaker for a Day for Gib Lewis, and Gib and I got a couple of bad lines in almost every newspaper in the state. So Gib, I'll fade this heat by myself and thank Chevron tonight for feeding us, and I think you ought to recognize them for that. It's a pleasure to be with Nacho and Gib and all the members of the Parks and Wildlife Commission. This speech tonight is dedicated to Tommy Humphrey. I know there are probably better turkey callers in the state of Texas, but I don't know them, okay? And I do know Tommy. Like a lot of you, I grew up hunting. When my daddy took time off, it was usually to fish or to hunt, and I would like to tell you it was for sport, but in those days during the Depression, it was meat gathering. And when he had an opportunity to hunt on a deer lease, he would take me with him. And for the past few years, I've gone pheasant hunting in the Panhandle, and I try to make the opening day of dove season in East Texas every year. To tell you the truth, though, doves are not particularly interested in you when you are accompanied by 37 members of the press on a flatbed hay trailer being pulled by a Jeep. So I usually just fire the gun in the air a couple of times so they can get their shots. Because Texas doves are not stupid, and they go to the next county when they see that mess going on. But this last year, I had a hunting experience unlike any that I had ever had before. I went turkey hunting. This speech is meant to be informative for those of you who have not experienced this joy. You know, you always hear that the truth is stranger than fiction, and in the case of turkey hunting, truth is funnier than anything you could make up. Now, I have always thought that deer hunting could occasionally be amusing. The aficionados may tell you that it's communing with nature. But what it really amounts to is getting up so early there is no oxygen, so that you can be stuck in a tiny little room with grown men who tell the same stories they told last year, interrupted by a lot of yelling and foot stomping, which is a lot like what I do every day. But now, turkey hunting is different. You get up at the crack of dawn, go out and sit a long time, and when the birds show up, you kill them and you pack up your gear and go home. But there is a lot more to it than that. First of all, turkeys are truly worthy adversaries. All that stuff about them being a lot brighter than their butterball cousins isn't at all true, but they have some advantages. They've got a 300-degree field of vision, acute hearing, and they're real skitterish. So you're not likely to sneak up on one. And they are so dumb that they are not curious by nature. Curiosity may have killed a cat, but it will never kill a turkey. And they are a lot like human beings in that the main thing that does them in is a fatal attraction for the opposite sex. Now it is the truth, and I'm going to tell you about it. You get a tom by making noises like a hen. And we women know how that works. And it is a show. Like all great entertainment, half of the deal is getting dressed up in your costume. Now remember, you have got to worry about that remarkable 300-degree field of vision. So you've got to have state-of-the-art bushland camouflage before you can do it. The bottom line is that you dress yourself up as a tree, a bush, or a woody vine. And you have got to cover everything. You put on this sort of baggy jumpsuit that covers you from chin to toe, and then you top it off with headgear that looks like a cross between a beekeeper and a belly dancer. And when you get it all on, all that is showing are the eyes. And a bunch of men dressed up like that look like nothing so much as harem rejects. Sort of like the front four of the Chicago Bears in really bad drag. Well, anyway, you get yourself all gussied up, and then you go out to a clearing in a thicket where one of the guys blows up an inflatable blow-up doll that looks like a turkey hen. And for obvious reasons, on our hunt, Bob Armstrong got the job. Now, you set your blow-up doll out on a stick, and then you back up and hunker down under a tree, and you turn to the most important person there, the caller. A good caller is truly the secret to success, because it is his job to capitalize on that turkey's remarkably acute hearing and lure him to his doom with the siren song of a plump little hen that is ready to be basted, if you get my drift. Now he's got this little wooden box that he uses to make sounds like a female turkey. It's sort of a high-pitched sound, like, and then after a while, you hear a response, gobble, 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 gobble. And then you go, and then you hear more intense, gobble, 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 gobble. And with every call, the response gets more intense, more passionate, and more urgent. Now, I don't speak turkey, but even I could understand this conversation that was going on. And sure enough, in a little while, here come 2 or 3 toms with every feather they've got standing on end. And they are dancing around this rubber hen with such a purpose that at this point you know that camouflage is about as necessary as lipstick on a hog. If that remarkable 300-degree field of vision doesn't tell them that they are strutting their stuff for a plastic decoy with a come-hither look, how in the world would they even remotely be aware of 4 trees, bushes, and woody vines hunkered down and packing more heat than they are? Now, those toms get just to the point where they can't stand it another second, where they are certain that there has never been another male as splendid as they are, and then they lose their heads and meet their maker. They never knew what hit them. And there have been criticisms of people like us who enjoy going hunting. And I have tried to explain to them that never could any bird possibly meet their death in happier circumstances than these turkeys did. Now, of course, I'm proud to tell you I got mine, and I'm thankful for the experience because I am convinced that I learned 2 valuable political lessons. Number 1, don't commit yourself to the first turkey you hear. And number 2, with all due and serious deference to our president, a bird in the hand may be worth 2 in the bush, but a bush in disguise is worth watching. God bless you, and thank you very much.
You're right. He's got a smile on his face.
I'm sorry I can't be with you all at this first annual Texas Wildlife Expo. However, I understand my son George is making a cameo appearance as MC for some of your events. Now, while George W. may not have inherited my charisma or my magic way with words, when it comes to deer hunting, he's a lot like Harry Truman. The buck stops here. All kidding aside for a moment, most of you know that spending time with my family means a lot to me, especially when we're enjoying the outdoors. Whether it's the whole Bush clan exploring the coves at low tide up in Maine, or bass fishing with family, or walking with Barbara in the woods at Camp David, nothing tops the feeling you get when you're surrounded by Mother Nature and the ones you love.